Today, we're going for a kind of philosophical shortcut, a way to get to a simpler, more effortless way of living.
And for that, we're diving into one of the most profound texts ever written, Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching.
It's surprisingly short, but our mission is to really pull out the wisdom here on, well, on everything, the universe, leadership, simplicity.
It's all about moving from, striving and forcing things to acting in alignment.
In the book, it doesn't ease you in, does it? It just throws you right into this massive contradiction.
Not at all. It hits you with its most famous line right at the start. The Tao that can be spoken is not the eternal Tao.
Which is immediately frustrating.
It is, but that's the whole point. It sets the stage perfectly.
Okay, so if we can't define it, if we can't speak it, where do we even begin? For you listening, what's the closest we can get to understanding the Tao?
The best way to think of it is the way. It's the fundamental reality, the natural order behind everything.
So not a religion, not a set of rules.
No, nothing like that. It's just the spontaneous flow of existence. And the key takeaway right from the get-go is that the more you try to box it in with language, the further away you get.
You have to let go of that rigid need for control.
Exactly.
That's a beautiful idea, but I mean, how do you actually do that? We live in a world of goals and definitions. How do you align with something you can't even define?
And that question leads us directly to the core practice in the Tao Te Ching. It's the concept called Wu Wei.
Wu Wei, I've always heard it translated as non-action, which honestly sounds incredibly passive, like you just sit around and let things happen.
Yeah, and that is a really misleading translation. It's not non-action, it's more like effortless action.
Effortless action. Okay, break that down.
It's about acting in perfect sync with the natural flow of a situation instead of, trying to force a result through stress and resistance.
So it's about getting the most done with the least amount of friction.
Precisely. Lao Tzu uses nature as the perfect example. He says, nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished.
I like that. But again, how does a CEO or anyone with ambition apply that? The world feels like it demands hurry.
Well, think of a river. It doesn't blast its way through a mountain, it flows around it. Or, over a very long time, it wears it down with gentle persistence.
So mastery isn't about the amount of force you use.
It's about the precision of your alignment with what's actually happening. A wise person moves like water flexible, adaptive, gentle, but also incredibly persistent.
It's almost like a mental martial art. And this works because, as the book shows us, reality itself is just full of these counterintuitive ideas.
Exactly. The early chapters are all about these paradoxes. They're meant to shift your perspective.
Like the idea that opposites define each other. You can't have light without dark, hard without soft.
Right, and then it takes it a step further. It says the seemingly weaker thing, like softness, is often where the real power is.
I think people would struggle with that.
Yeah.
We see hardness in business and politics as strength. If you show up with softness, aren't you just going to get run over?
In the short term, maybe. But Lao Tzu is talking about the long game. What erodes the hardest rock?
Wind and water.
Gentle, persistent forces. Not a bigger, harder rock. It's the same with the idea of emptiness.
Ah, the famous cup analogy.
Yes. What makes a cup useful? It's not the clay walls.
It's the empty space inside it.
Exactly. Or a window.
Okay.
The value is the opening. We spend our lives trying to fill every empty space, but the Tao reminds us that capacity emptiness is where the real value is. The sage knows this, so they don't meddle so much.
So if you stop interfering, stop trying to fill every gap, you're left with simplicity.
You're left with Pu, the uncarved block.
The uncarved block, what does that symbolize?
It's our original nature. Simple, peaceful, not burdened by 1,000 different desires and labels. The text argues we create our own turmoil by chasing these things.
Which is a huge challenge to modern culture, right? We're taught to have very specific goals, to chase desires. Lao Tzu says that's the trap itself.
It is. Peace comes from returning to that original simplicity. When you're always accumulating things, you're losing the space you need to actually live.
That makes a lot of sense for an individual. But this was written during a time of political chaos, so it has to apply to more than just personal peace.
Oh, it does. The advice on leadership is probably the most radical part of the whole book.
What does it say?
A leader should govern lightly, trust the people, avoid having too many laws, avoid ego, and absolutely avoid war.
But if a leader is too light, too hands-off, don't they just look absent? Ineffective.
It's about being an invisible leader. The best ruler, according to Lao Tzu, is one who is so effective that when the work is done, the people all say, we did it ourselves.
So the leader's job is to create the conditions for success and then get out of the way.
Exactly. Their power comes from the results they enable, not the credit they take. And that ties right back to the paradoxes. Power comes from humility.
Right. The text is very clear on that. It says weapons bring misfortune, and victory in battle should be a time for mourning, not celebration.
Because it represents a failure of harmony. And the water metaphor comes back again.
Water yields, but he conquers everything.
Exactly. The rigid thing is the one that snacks under pressure. The yielding thing, the water, it just adapts and keeps going.
Okay, so as we move on, let's talk about the second part of the title. We talked about the Tao, the Wei. What is Te?
Te is, you could call it virtue or integrity. It's the expression of the Tao in a person's life.
So it's like a moral code.
Not really. This is a critical distinction. It's not a moralistic list of do's and don'ts. It's effortless virtue. It's what flows out of you naturally when you're in harmony with the way.
So it's not about trying to be good. It's a state of being where good actions just happen.
That's a perfect way to put it. It's like the sound a perfectly tuned instrument makes. It doesn't have to try. Real virtue is quiet. It doesn't need to announce itself.
And the sage, the wise person, finds this in just ordinary life.
Yes. Not in grand theories, but in simplicity. They aren't caught up in desire, which the text identifies as the root of all our emotional problems.
And this idea extends even to, say, nations.
It does. A great nation should be like the ocean. It's the lowest place, so all the rivers flow to it. Its humility is its power.
So the wise person, or the wise nation, might look simple on the outside.
They might look plain, but they see the deep structure of reality.
As we get to the end of the book, what's the final, ultimate message that Lao Tzu leaves us with?
It's really a beautiful synthesis of everything. First, intellectual humility. True wisdom is knowing that you don't know.
Which brings us right back to the beginning.
It does. And second, the constant reminder that the softest things in the world overcome the hardest.
It's a fundamental challenge to that striving, forceful part of ourselves.
Absolutely. The final message is about giving, not hoarding. The sage gives, and in giving becomes richer. The Tao nourishes everything without asking for credit. It just is.
So this whole deep dive really shows that the Tao Te Ching is a manual for seeing the world completely differently. It argues that, alignment is stronger than force. Gentleness is strength. Simplicity is clarity.
It challenges almost every metric we have for success today. If you're looking for that path, the mandate is pretty clear.
What is it?
Return to simplicity, act without forcing, move like water, just live in harmony with the way.
And that brings us to our final thought for you. If this book is right, if the softest, most yielding thing truly overcomes the hardest, most rigid thing, what common assumption you hold about strength or success, maybe in your job or your relationships, does this idea force you to question?